Design or Die podcast, meant to connect creatives together and help you navigate the struggles and the triumphs of what it means to be an entrepreneur so that you and your business can thrive. I'm your host, Collette. Let's get creative. Hey friends, I am back with another podcast episode. I know it's been a while, and I will explain why. I'm hoping to upload, edit this all today on Friday, December 15th, so you get to listen to it before the holidays, before holiday breaks. And really what I'm going to primarily talk about is the best way to support small business and how to do it in a way that is kind. So this whole year has been super busy for me and my husband because basically I am a 3-time business owner now. This has been in the works for a while, but my husband and I invested in and started a mobile pet grooming business. This is something we're super passionate about, especially since we lost our dog, our golden retriever mix, over the summer. And he was the sweetest boy ever, but he had such a hard time going to groomers. He was kicked out of groomers because he didn't like other dogs and he didn't like strangers touching him. And so we found a need for it in our community. That being said, it is basically another full-time job. I am handling most of the social media for it, as well as scheduling calls, customer service, that kind of thing, and marketing and events. So we have been incredibly busy as we started the launch for that in November. So we're just now in December and we have to basically put in a ton of work for the next few months until it can run itself. So that, along with the fact that obviously this year's been really difficult with everything going on, with all the war and genocide that is happening, it hasn't really felt right on my part to then push people to run their small business a certain way or to encourage people to start one. It's just been a really heavy year, and I've just kind of sat back with this podcast. So that's what I'm doing here today. I do have some things that I want to talk about that I've been seeing a ton of this year, and that is starting with small businesses. A lot of small businesses have closed their doors this year, especially given the last few months. I actually was at a market event a few months ago, and I always get business cards of everyone that's there. Fun little tip if you do those, always meet the people who are there because they might end up being your clients or networking friends or business friends. But I always get business cards while I'm there and then save them to then go follow them on social media, stay connected, all of that. So it took me about a month before I was able to do all that. And I'm not kidding when I said at least 2 of those businesses were out of business. So just from the time I met them a few weeks ago to going to find them on Instagram, they closed their doors. And I don't blame them. I've also considered the same thing, like several times the past few years. I mean, ever since COVID, it's been just a crazy world. The economy is in shambles. It's hard to promote your business when so many tough things are going on. But at the same point, for those of us that are continuing, I want to still be a guiding light for those people and also just give background of what it really means to be a small business owner. So this episode can be for anyone that is running a small business, anyone that supports small business, or anyone that doesn't. My point of this episode is really just to educate and share my own thoughts on small business and the best way to support them. And let me start off by saying that I know that sometimes shopping small is a luxury and not everyone can afford to do so. There are also a ton of free ways you can support your friends, family, local businesses by sharing their content, tagging people in it, messaging it to people, commenting, liking, following. All of those things are super helpful as well to get the name out there. So you don't always have to spend money to support. That being said, I think there's a huge disconnect about one, people feeling that maybe small business isn't worth spending the money on, and two, the people that do spend the money on small business sometimes feeling almost too privileged, where they get really upset at small business for not going above and beyond and breaking our policies to serve them. I actually saw this Instagram reel by a small business owner called Barley and Oak Co. on Instagram. I will tag them. They said, "You owe a customer a great experience and a great product, but honestly, nothing outside of that." And I wanted to add on to that and kind of explain the thoughts behind this. So if you're a small business owner, you've probably run into tons of people that are demanding a discount. They say, "I'm not going to shop from you because you're too expensive unless you give me a discount," almost guilting you to do so, or expecting free items with purchase or free shipping or a rush order without being charged the rush fee. Listen, every small business owner is so happy, does a little happy dance every time they get a new order, a new client, etc. So do not think we are ungrateful for it. We definitely are grateful. At the same point, we have to protect ourselves, protect our brand, and make sure we're making money off of this. Small businesses are typically that small. There's usually one employee, maybe we have help. And so we have to make sure we're still making money for all the effort we're putting in, because we're not a corporation. We don't have tons of people working for us. We don't have the expedited shipping times because we are one person or two, three, whatever, spending our actual time to fulfill each order. And although we appreciate the business, it does not mean that these people or you should get special privileges just because you're supporting us. And I was somehow on the wrong side of Instagram videos the other day, but I saw someone who posted, quote, "You aren't owed anything because you are a small business." And what I have to say to that is the same thing. You aren't owed anything extra because you're supporting our small business. You're not single-handedly holding us up. Although we appreciate it and we love every supporter, the ones that try to take and take and take make it very difficult to sustain a business, especially in this economy. To piggyback on that, I wanted to share a little bit about what one single product actually costs us. So it is our time, our skill set, classes we've taken, etc., to create the item, right? That's one thing in itself. So we have to make sure we're getting paid based on that. But we also, just for any product, service, we have to pay for our programs, our Adobe programs, our editing programs, Canva, whatever it is, payroll, invoicing system, or CRM. And then there's also the print cost and shipping from the printer, wherever we get our materials made from. And then there is the packaging costs, and this is not shipping costs, this is our mailers, our labels, thank you cards. All of that is things we have to pay for. So we have to charge based on all of that, and then making sure we're making a profit. Now, if we discount our services, our profit diminishes. When you purchase from a small business, if you're buying something that's $50, we're not getting $50. We're maybe getting $25, maybe even less. And a lot of times, a lot of small business owners don't know how to correctly price their stuff. So it's not like we're just upping the charge for no reason. Again, on this video that I found on Instagram, there was a ton of people in the comments saying, if Amazon's cheaper, I'm just going to go there. And that's fine, right? But they were just going in on small business owners for overpricing their stuff. And I have to tell you, that's not the case. There are, of course, places that upsell things that you can find elsewhere. But if it's truly handmade and by an artisan or a creative, it takes time. And not only does it take time for the actual product, but to then create the product, get it printed, get it to you, shipped, all of that. Which, let me also say, shipping costs are not created by us. Please understand that. The Postal Service creates the prices I, for one, and I think a lot of people, do not make any money off the shipping. I do not upcharge the shipping. If anything, a lot of times the shipping doesn't cover what it actually costs me to ship it, and I end up losing that from my profit as well. So keep that in mind too. We do not upcharge things just for the hell of it. At the end of the day, we're running a business, and even though you may be our friend, cousin, whatever, doesn't mean we can afford to give everyone a discount, everyone free items, because that's why our business ends up closing. Not only from the burnout of going above and beyond for people who sometimes are not appreciative of it, but also finding it hard to make a profit and keep it up with all these Amazon companies, Temu, all of those that are selling products for a fourth of the cost. And again, I know that not everyone can do this, but when I try to purchase products, I try to think about who's getting the money, where the money is going, does that business support good causes. The companies like Shein and Temu and all of those, not only do they steal designs and items from actual creatives with no compensation, but I try to think of what kind of labor is being used to create those products if they're able to price it at $2 a shirt or $5 for an item. Who's making that? And think about the people that are slaving away to make those items. Not only that, as I've gotten older, I've realized the value in having less items of higher quality rather than a lot more items of lower quality. I've learned over time, when I buy something cheaper, it is cheaply made, so I have to rebuy it over and over again. And in the long run, you're actually spending more money. Also, I have seen this, when people send you their Amazon wish list for Christmas and the holidays and things like that, I've looked at, the person's list, I find the item, Glossier, for example. Someone I know had something from Glossier on their Amazon wish list. On Amazon, it was over $100. And then when I went to Glossier's website for that same item from their site, it was $65, plus you get a 10% off coupon, your first use. So it's not always cheaper. They're upcharging items, but again, it's how that business is being run and who we're supporting. And as the economy continues to diminish, a lot of people, with COVID and all that, people were sharing, the small businesses, they're closing down, we need to support them. And it's almost like 3 years later, that thought process has gone out the window. And it's not our fault that we have to charge what we have to charge, right? Like, it costs money to run a business, and we do not succeed if we do not make a profit. And unfortunately, none of these things change unless we are smart about where we're putting our money. If we all decided to boycott Amazon or Temu and not support them, they would die out, and items for our things would probably get cheaper. So it's almost like the people that are hating on small business for charging a certain amount are actually perpetuating that by choosing to support brands that are unethical and raise the prices for all the little guys that are not huge corporations. And it gives kind of a false sense of reality when you get items shipped to you same day. But honestly, I got Amazon packages shipped to me on a Sunday, and I felt awful that people were out there having to deliver on a Sunday. During the holidays, everyone needs to make money, but at the same point, there's little things we can do to make the world go round, so to speak. So if you've had to close your doors this year, my thoughts are with you. I totally understand. I have been there. I think everyone knows what's best to do for them and when it's time to step away, even if that means taking a break for a few months or revamping or pivoting or thinking about what's really going to bring them joy and sustainability. It's been hard out here, so I just want you to know that you're not alone in that, and that a ton of small business owners have felt the exact same way. And the more misinformation spreads, the more small businesses continue to close their doors. You guys know I love giving you all the free tips for your small business, finding your passion, and navigating this entrepreneurial world. If you find value in this, you can donate monthly as low as 99 cents through my Spotify link to help keep this thing going. Thank you for listening. Okay, this brings me to the next thing that's everywhere that I want to talk about. I want to get y'all's feedback on. Send me emails at designerdiy@gmail.com. Comment on my Instagram. You can actually leave a voicemail on Spotify. Tell me your thoughts on AI. So it started with pictures that people did on these, Chinese apps to get cool photos. The first one that was really popular was AI photos surrounding kind of artistic styles. And I did it, I'm not going to lie. But the second I did it, I felt kind of icky about it. And the more I learned, where is AI pulling from? It's pulling from photos from the internet, from other people's work that they spent time on. Not only that, it overall is creating such a divide in small business and the community even further. Yes, these things can be a lot of fun and can make life a lot easier depending on what field you're in, but as a graphic designer, creative person, I'm a little scared. Now, that's not to say that there isn't still room for us. There is things that we offer that these things cannot give, right? But at the same point, it's a little terrifying. Not only that, it furthers the feeling of and that satisfaction of getting something right away. I just saw someone post, now I don't know if that's going to put me out of business, right? But I just saw a creator post that there's a website that can design a website for you in under 30 seconds. That is crazy to me. Now, do I think that goes a little bit against branding and all of that and the psychology behind branding? I do. I don't think that's going to work for everyone because a website isn't just about having a website, right? We can get into that another time. But that is crazy. To have that power at the tip of your fingers so quickly is a little bit nerve-wracking. Do I think it's going to help the economy? No. I think it's going to put a ton of people out of work. It's going to further diminish the need for creators and artists and designers. Not only the need for them, but making it really difficult. And currently I'm at a loss of whether to join in because apparently that's going to be the future, right? Like sometimes we have to pivot to go with society and kind of get with the times. But at the same point, me being a supporter of small businesses and locality makes me feel like I don't want to do that. I would love to know you guys' thoughts on this as well. I'm going to try and research a little bit more of other creators talking about this topic and how to actually utilize AI in a healthy way for their business, but I just feel kind of icky about it. I don't know. That also makes me think about Canva. And I want to say that I actually use Canva as a tool in my business, not for my designs, but sometimes for social graphics, and sometimes once I create a brand for someone, I suggest my clients use Canva to then create some quick designs that are on brand for their socials. And the reason I do this is because when I started doing graphic design, I did all kinds of graphics. I did flyers, brochures, Facebook banners, all of those things. But did I like doing them? No. Did I make a ton of money from them? No. But at least Canva hires designers and pays them. Now, I don't know what percentage they pay them, if it's a good gig or not, but at least there are creators behind that. Same with Creative Market. Your money is going to support also small business, but a lot of designers feel not great about Canva, and I feel that as well. because there's been an emergence of designers that think they're designers because they just started Canva without realizing that design is a study for a reason. I took psychology courses in consumer behavior, which ties into marketing, which ties into sales, and all of those things have a meaning and a reason. If you don't know those things, they're just not going to be as successful. You'll get a quick, cheap design, sure. If you need that, that's fine. For a social graphic here and there, holiday flyer, that makes sense for me. So I'm not hating on it. I'm just also sharing how it can be implemented in your business in a good way. That's one of the areas where I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to jump on board. Again, I don't use it for designs because I don't know about you, but I've seen a lot of people using stuff from there that ends up looking the same, which again makes it even harder for people to remember who's who. The whole point of design is to stand out and have a clear message, and brand visibility, brand awareness, brand recognizability, all of those good things. So my advice to small business owners during this holiday season is to stick with your policies. If you don't have policies in place, put them in place. Let people know your shipping times. No, we are not Amazon. Do not try to be. The more we keep bending for people, the more people are going to expect that when shopping small. Like that one creator said, we owe you a product. We owe you a great customer service. Outside of that, we have to protect ourselves. We have to keep this thing running. We can't give everyone the benefit of the doubt, because let me tell you, the people that I've done that for and bend my rules for end up being my most difficult clients. So stick with your policies, stay true to yourself, and you get to choose how you run your business. That is the biggest thing I've learned this year, is that if someone's unhappy with how I run it, I just won't work with them again. I'm not going to change my situation to help them, because that ends up in people shutting their doors. That ends up in people not making money and being burnt out from going above and beyond for every person and ending up with nothing and feeling like a failure. I've been there. It happens to me all the time. But for those of us who are just going through it, us that are busy this season, the ones that are changing it up in the next year, I am here to help you with any free tips and suggestions and motivation that you may need to keep going. The other thing is, take a holiday break for yourself. Please block off time on your calendar. Take the weekend off. Take the time off with your family, friends, or just at home, whatever that may be. You deserve it. Every person that works full-time gets some kind of paid time off, right? So take the time off. Set boundaries in place. They will still be there after the new year. And I hope you all learned a little bit from this. If you were offended at all, I apologize. This is just the reality and things I've learned and heard from both sides. I want to hear your feedback on this episode about how you're feeling about Canva, AI, small business, if you're a supporter or a creator or small business owner. I want to hear from all of you. And I have a lot of fun things planned for the new year. I'm definitely going to be posting on this podcast more regularly. Even though it's been a very difficult year, we do have to keep moving, keep going, doing the best we can, putting our money and time where it is well spent and well appreciated. And even though I've had huge periods of slumps this year and feeling like it's not the right time to talk and taking that time for myself, I do also feel not an obligation, but I feel good about making people feel heard and seen, because this is a very isolating business to be in sometimes. It is not for everyone, but the people who are in it, it is so great having someone that does what you do, like validate those feelings and say you're not an asshole for following your policies. You're not selfish because you have to charge more to make a profit. So moral of the story is, it's not our fault. Small business is sometimes more expensive. It is not your fault if you can't afford to support it. If you do support it, we appreciate and love you, but we are not going to sacrifice our business, our boundaries, and our policies for you. So I hope you all have a lovely holiday. If you can shop small, go do it. If you're in Connecticut, the Bristol Bazaar has some of my holiday cards and stickers until January, as well as a ton of local creators. That place is awesome. I appreciate every single one that has come out to my market and supported the other day. I love that community vibe, and when people see how special it is to get a present that is handmade and something you can't get anywhere else. So thank you for listening. Again, let me know your thoughts, and happy holidays.